Hi everyone, I'm Mandy. Welcome to my channel, and this video is made to use with my silk painting beginners workshop kit. They are my new products and available in the Etsy shop. I have made 12 different designs to guide beginners to paint their first silk painting step by step. So the video will take about 30 minutes. The first 5 minutes, we're going to talk about the tips and techniques. Those tips are important for the workshop, and if you never painted before, please don't skip it. And the second part will usually be about 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to paint the workshop kit step by step. And the third part, it's an easy way to display your silk painting. See how to frame your picture into a greeting card, or the greeting card has already included in the silk painting workshop kit. Okay, so let's take a look at the tips and techniques. Silk painting workshop tips for beginners. Tip number 1: how to use silk paint. We use silk paint to hold the silk when we are painting. Each paint has 3 points and only one is pinned through the silk. The other 2 points push into the box, but don't push them right in. Leave a gap for the dye to run through. Painting on silk is very different from painting on other materials. Let's take a look at this example. On the left-hand side, I was using silk dye and painted on silk. And the other side, it's acrylic used on canvas paper. Silk absorbs the dye from the paintbrush. A useful and simple technique to fill shapes between the outline is to tap the tip with loaded paintbrush. With that said, let's have a look how to load the paintbrush and mistakes to be avoided. Tip number 2: load a paintbrush. A full load paintbrush. I dip all the paintbrush into the dye and then remove the drops on the side of the palette before I lift it up. This is now a fully loaded paintbrush. In this video, I'm using a very small paintbrush, so there's no extra drops on the top of my paintbrush. I'm using this way to paint my background. Just repeat the step until the whole area is covered with the same color. To fill a smaller shape, we need to load less dye. Hold the brush vertical and place the tip of the brush into the dye briefly. Don't leave it for too long, as the brush will absorb more dye with time. Use the brush tip to fill the shapes and lift it as soon as the shape is covered. Now, let's have a look at why avoiding extra dye is important. In this silk painting beginner's kit, all the silk is pre-made with gutta, a silk resistance. This outlines holds silk dye in shape. Too much dye on a brush can cause silk dye to bleed out of its shape. There has a testing silk in the kit. You can use it to practice how to load a paintbrush before making your first silk painting. For small silk paintings with gutta outlines, I like to cover all area designed for the same color. When it is all finished, I will need to clean the paintbrush before loading a different color. Loading new colors with an unwashed paintbrush can cause a muddy result on the picture. Tips number 3: clean a paintbrush. Prepare a jar of clean water and some kitchen towel. Step 2. Tap the brush up and down on the bottom of the jar until it's clean. Step 3. Try the handle and brush on the kitchen towel. Gently squeeze the brush with the kitchen towel. Step 4. Shape the brush to a point. Ready to start again. One more tip. You can use the kitchen towel or testing sheet to try the new colors before painting on your picture. Tip number 4. Dilute the dye. We dilute the dye to get a lighter color. In some of the designs, we need to dilute the dye to get different grades of one color. For a light background or flower petals in a painting, we use 2 drops of dye at 2 mm of water from a dropper. Increase the amount of dye to have a more substantial color. Vice versa, adding more water will make the color paler. Some designs include more than 6 colors. Use a kitchen towel to free up space in the palette if needed. Okay, these are all the tips for now. Let's take a look at today's workshop. Have fun! We need a jar of clean water to wash the paintbrush and one Mius silk painting workshop beginner's kit. If this is your first time, please make sure you understand and practice the tips at the start. Check the picture on your workshop kit. If it's not the same as this one, you will need to watch a different video. You can find it on my website. Let's take a look at the kit. We will find these items in the box. A sample user guide has information about the kit. Color by number print. Scan this QR code will take you to the workshop page on my website. An aperture card and envelope. A pre-made silk sheet ready to paint. And testing silk, which was mentioned in the tips section at the beginning. Use the front side for practicing. Silk dyes for this design. These are child-resistant bottles. They need to be pressed down and turned to open. 4 silk pins and 1 piece of thin metal for peeling tapes while framing. We will need to use it in the end of the video. A palette, dropper, and paintbrush. A kitchen towel. Step 1. Paint the silk on the box. Once we take everything out from the box, we close it and using the back to pin the silk on. The silk pins will keep the silk in place and gives us a flat surface to paint on. If you are not sure how to use the silk pins, please go back to the start and watch the tips section. It's your turn now. Pause the video and pin your silk on the box. Step 2. Match the dyes in the picture. We use these color by number prints for references. Color numbers that are indicated in their place can also be found on the label of the bottle. Step 3. Start painting. Use water to remove the glue from a new paintbrush. Dry the water and shape the point so it is ready to use. Recognize the same color in a picture and complete them all before moving to the next one. It's your turn now. Pause the video and find the place for each color in the design. Okay, let's start by using the die 768 and practice loading the paintbrush. Put some dye into the palette and fully load your paintbrush. Gently tap it on the silk until the whole area is covered. Give your paintbrush a good clean. Use a kitchen towel to test it. A dirty paintbrush can decrease the value of the color we're going to load. In this design, we can see gradient tones on the flowers. At first, we're going to use the die number 901. To paint the flower in the front, we need to dilute it, and use the original for the little flower behind. Let's prepare the color in the palette. And use your droppers to move a few drops into a new place. Adding some water to dilute it. And then we'll try the diluted color on the testing silk to compare it with the design. Use the color by number prints for reference, and we're going to color all the places which marked with 30% 901. Use the same brush to load the concentrate 901 and paint the little flower behind. To create a gradient tone on silk, we use two colors separately. In this picture, I first used 902 to paint most of the petals and left a little bit space on the top of the petals. I load a little bit of 901 on the tip of the same brush. Touch the white space we left it with this new painting. When the first color is still wet, the silk will blend it together. When the flower is finished, we're going to paint the stems. The lighter one is 716. It's also used for the stamens. The shape we're going to paint is very small, so I'm only loading a little bit of dye on the tip of the paintbrush. So we are reaching the end of this workshop. The last color we're going to use in here is the die number 663. Do you still remember how to paint the background? Now the painting is finished. Are you enjoying this workshop? Take a photo of your work and send it to my email. The next section will be framing. Let your picture dry completely. And now let's have a look how to frame the silk into the card. So first, find the right end. How do we want to open the card? Like the left or right? That's up to you. I'm going to do it like from that right side. Okay, so now I will use, I have on the card, I've already put the double side tape, but sometimes it can be tricky to peel it, so we can use this little metal piece I prepared to lift up this. Okay, and then when the silk's still on the box, with the pin, we don't need to move anything just now. And then I will find the best position for this butterfly. I will press this down. Once that part is on, I will take the pin out. It's very easy to take the pin out if you haven't pressed it down very hard. Now, I'll take this pin, this one, and this one. Now we can see this top is stick on the card already. Then we turn the back. Peel the side. Do this side. Now the other side. Last, the end. Once your card is sticked on the, once the silk is sticked on the card, you can find one corner, separate the paper from silk. We'll need to hold the silk down and peel the paper. It should be very easy. Now, the silk is sticked on the card. Now we can close the card, and your work will look like this. It's transparent. Both sides. And that card will perfectly fit into a standard frame. You can pick any frame from the supermarket, and let's say A5 size with a mount. That is what it looks like. Okay, for the double-sided frame, it's going to take a bit longer than this. So if you're interested, wants to put your work into a floated frame, please check a different video, and it's a separate one. You can find the link under the description. Thank you. Bye for now.